Welcome to Discovering. Tonight, we'll start out with an ATV ride. Check out a Bay Knock walleye plant.
We put almost 480,000 walleyes in Bay Knock this year.
Take a look at a big bear and cook some goose.
A little bit of our pepper jack.
Sit back and relax. That's all tonight, right here on Discovering.
The secret streams that flow beneath the cliffs of colored stone. Forest thick and healthy with birch and pine and oak. Surrounded by the greatest lakes this world has ever known. The black bear's awesome presence as he roams the hills and fields. Call of the timber wolf, the loon's lonesome trill. The eagle soaring high above, the trout lies deep and still. These are what I treasure, the only way I measure feelings that I have for this fine land. There is so much to discover when you're a long-time lover of northern Michigan.
There are many ways to get out and enjoy the fall colors here in the UP. One way is to ride the hundreds of miles of ATV trails through the scenic woods.
Today is kind of like our highlight. We get to share what we love with people that don't get out all the time, and with our seniors.
This is the 12th annual Senior Color Ride. We take senior citizens from around the area and take them for a ride from here in Greenland to Twin Lakes State Park to see the changing colors along their trail. It's a 13-mile trail that covers some beautiful country. There's 3 incredible bridges. It's always a great turnout, a great ride. We usually travel pretty slow, anywhere from 10 to 25 miles an hour.
22 side-by-sides brought seniors for a color tour down the trail.
We have ATVs from Headwaters Polaris. This one is from Timberline Sports. I believe a couple from Pat's Motorsports. We have lots of volunteers that have their own and they come and drive people.
The young man that was driving me was very interesting to talk to. The colors were beautiful. The pasties provided by Krups were excellent. The cookies. I didn't think I was senior enough to go on this, but I am. And it was very nice.
It was great. Thanks to everybody who planned this. It was wonderful.
Maybe dress a little warmer next year.
Or the weather could cooperate.
Yeah.
It's everybody chipping in to help the seniors out. We've got emergency responders here. Sanko was with us. We met 2 foresters at the Triple Trestles, a very unique spot, and they were able to talk about leaf color and et cetera. Any questions you had about the forestry. So as far as here at Twin Lakes, Rich Perrinen is the supervisor here. He helps coordinate it here. Krups Mini Mart provided the pasties, bless their hearts.
I rode with Don on this ATV color tour. It was my first time on this stretch of trail from Greenland to Twin Lakes. Don is the current president of My Trail, the Michigan Trails and Recreation Alliance of Land and the Environment. My Trail was founded in June of 2001 to bring together both motorized and non-motorized trail enthusiasts to work towards the development, designation, and interconnection of multi-use trails in the western UP.
Right now, we have about 300 members. DNR trails, we have about 310, and then we sponsor another 300. So we've got about a little under 600 miles of trails that we maintain. Located in 5 counties in the western UP, so Iron, Gogebic, Ontonagon, Baraga, and Houghton. We are a volunteer organization. Everything that you see and ride on, it's done by volunteers. We spend a lot of time and effort on the trails to make them safe for our riders and for our guests. We welcome any comments, negative or positive, and we welcome memberships. I encourage everybody to join up and help us. We can't do it by ourselves. We originally started with a flat map, just like everybody has in their car for the roads. In 2014, we decided we wanted something bigger and better. So we created a 142-page map guide. It's a little bit unique in that it covers not just ORV trails, no snowmobile trails, I want to point that out, but it does have equestrian, walking, hiking, and paddle trails. It's the only guide that has paddle trails in the Western UP. It also has points of interest. All the Keweenaw heritage sites are located in that guide, as well as about 12 planned trips. So if you have an interest of going someplace, you can take a look at that. It tells you the sites that you can see there and how many miles and about how long it takes to run it. We have a map app that was just released in May. It's called Michigan UP Trails. It's available for Android or iPhone. Go to your friendly store, app store, and you can download it. It has everything that's in the guides. The advantage is it's up to date. Any changes, we put it in there right away. So I encourage everybody to take a look at the map app. Once again, that's Michigan UP Trails. And free, and free. Don't forget free.
However you like to view our fall colors, by car, ATV, or by foot, take some time to get out and see the splendor of color that nature puts on for us this time of year.
After spending a morning filming goose hunting, I headed for Kipling to see if I could catch the scouts in action with the Badenoch Sport Fisherman Walleye Stocking Project. I got there a minute too late to see the last net full of fish. Luckily, Craig Warple was there with not only his scouts, but with a camera. Thanks, Craig.
What we have here today is with Badenoch Great Lakes Sport Fishermen, with the support of the community. We're raising fish for Bays the Knock. In the background we have one of our ponds here that we've just netted fall fingerlings out of. We have some Boy Scouts here helping us today. They've been very helpful. They've been pitching in and getting things done, so us old guys don't have to work so hard.
Why don't we just put the fish in the bay?
Well, it's not quite that simple. What we do early in the spring with the cooperation of the DNR is the fish that come to spawn. You guys know how fish spawn or have any idea about that? They spawn, they lay eggs, and they get fertilized. And at that point, Michigan DNR takes them to Thompson, which is over towards Manistee, and they raise them, they hatch them out, and at 3 days old, roughly 3 days old, they get put in ponds like the one here. And at that point, we let those fish, those very, very, very small fish, grow. And we have to feed them, and they're primarily feeding on zooplankton, phytoplankton. That's the food that those very, very small walleyes need to grow. They sit in here about 6 weeks, and we keep them fed by keeping the ponds fertilized and keep that population of plankton, which is their food, adequate so that they grow. At about 2 inches, then they need to eat more. Kind of like a baby that goes from milk to food. What we did today is when we netted in July, between this pond and another pond and the Sioux tribe over in the eastern UP, we put 480,000 walleyes already in Badenoch, and that's not counting today. But these fish, we knew when we netted them, some of you guys all helped pull nets. It's kind of a challenge, it's quite a bit of work, but we knew we missed some. So we went back today, let them grow further, but we didn't feed them. We just kind of hoped that they would do better, and they did. They grew up to about 3.5 inches or so, and we're still waiting on the final count today, but of how many we got today. But those fish, as you guys all helped, all just went in the bay. So 480,000 plus whatever we did today. One thing is when they're larger, as with anything else, their survivability to catchable size goes up considerably. So ideally we want them as big as we can get them when we put them in there so that they will hopefully be in your landing net in a year or two. So to grow to a legal size, which is 15 inches, it varies a little bit, but figure about 3 years. So these fish, in 2 years, you should be able to catch legal fish. You can get a 12-pound walleye out here. That's the exception. Those are 15 to 20-year-old fish, so those are the fish we want to protect. That's one of the reasons there's a slot limit on these waters where you can only have one fish over 23 inches. That keeps the breeding population healthy. We have 20 Fike nets, and I'll explain a little bit about how they work and what they're for. But I do have to do a shout out to the Hannaville community because they virtually paid for these. So we're very grateful for that, and without this we couldn't get things done. Let me explain a little bit about what the nets are. These are called Fike nets. This long lead, the weighted line, and then the float. We stretch these from shore on the surface where this lays on the bottom. When the fish swim along, they travel along and go through the grates. We have various meshes to keep turtles and things out of there. It funnels them down to a small hole where they get trapped into a tied basket, if you will, that's anchored on the one end. With the boats, we pull the nets up, we open that, and we dump the fish into the stock tanks. And today we had a pretty good harvest. The fish are a little smaller than we'd like to see them. Just a little perspective on it for this year, Bait and Knock Great Lake Sport Fishing, with the support of the community and the Hannaville group that's supporting us, as well as the Sault Ste. Marie tribe had contributed fish for us also this year. We put almost 480,000 walleyes in Bait and Knock this year. It's an effort. We can't do it alone. We need help, but we need community support and, of course, money, always. Did anybody have fun today?
Yes.
Good. We need to do this for the fishery, but old guys like me, we may never see the results, but you guys will. So we really appreciate your input. We really appreciate your help. And as a community, we can make a difference. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Here's a look at one big bear.
I started baiting 16th of August, and he hit the bait on the 20th, and he came every day. He was coming, and I got pictures of him with hardly any hair on him. And then he left one day, but he came back. When my season started the 16th, we had south winds. I couldn't hunt with a south wind, so all week I waited. Well, he left on Saturday, and this morning I seen his track. When I went back into bait, I knew he was back. Well, 2 days ago I sat there. I was there 10 minutes, a coyote come through, seen that. Tonight I got there, I seen a fisher, then a porcupine, or a skunk and a raccoon. Then an owl landed in a tree by me just before he come out. And he hopped from limb to limb, and I was looking at it, and all of a sudden it took off flying. And I'm like, I wonder what scared it. And I heard the brush cracking, and I thought it was that coyote coming. It was the same way the coyote was. And he came in, I could hear him coming, and he growled. I don't know if that was to chase anything off the bait or what. And he come out in the clearing, he was at 25 yards, broadside when I shot, and he took off, and I heard him running. And I got a crew together, and he went 140 yards probably, and there he was. And the owl, I think, was Raymond Bray, my buddy Raymond. He come and sat, and I'm sure it was him with me tonight. And I went out last night to another bait just to look, and because I knew the wind was bad, and I seen a 300-pound one last night, came in at 6 o'clock. I watched it for 45 minutes, and then I left, and I wasn't gonna shoot none unless they got this one. And I'm like, well, here he is. He's better than I actually thought he was. I've got 11,000 pictures on my camera of the bear from the fall now. Some nights I get 400 or 500 of them. He would stay, he'd come in at 4 or 5 o'clock, and he'd stay till midnight. Then he'd come back through the night. I think he lived right there till, I don't know, I'm sure he went to the Acorns for a few days because where his tracks were is in Oak Ridge, so I'm sure that's where he was coming from. When he first came in, he had no hair on the back and he had no belly. I got pictures when the first day he started coming, and then gradually the hair got more and then his belly started getting bigger, and here he is. I would guess he gained over 100 pounds while I was feeding him. He'd go through 60 pounds of feed a night, roughly. And then there's probably a 400-pound one that's coming to the spot too. He would come out usually, and as soon as he'd get there, this one would come out and then he'd leave. But the other one was there all week now while he was gone. So there was 2 decent ones there. He weighs 6'14". We got him scaled, the scales, certified scale. He's 6'14". His back foot's as big as mine. His head is huge. He's got noses as big around as a cow. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see what he scores when his skull is dry. Biggest one I'm gonna ever get.
Geese. It's not only the season to shoot them, it's the season to eat them.
Okay, we're gonna be making some Goose Carnitas today. And I've got this beautiful, beautiful goose breast here. But there's a little bit of fat remaining on it, so I'm just gonna clean that up. Sometimes that will give it a little bit of a gamey taste. Some people like that, most people don't. So we're just gonna remove this and clean it up as much as possible, and then we're gonna put it into some smaller pieces and get this in the crock pot with some seasonings. Now we're gonna just chunk it up into some nice pieces so it'll cook all the same. This is beautiful. This is great for like football game day, because you can put it in the crock pot, you can leave it in there for a while, and then take it out and fry it. You can use it for nachos. We're gonna do it, roll it up in some flour tortillas, and I'm gonna be making a really, really good black bean and mango salsa to go with it. A little bit of salt and a little bit of fresh ground black pepper. Always, always, always. So we're gonna season it with a little bit of coriander and a little bit of cumin. These are used in a lot of Mexican, Indian dishes like that. So we want that smoky cumin flavor in there. We've also got some dried chilies, just for a little bit of heat. We're gonna put one of these in, but not too much. I don't want too much heat. I don't want it to overpower, so we're just gonna put one in. Okay, we're gonna put these in. Get those in on the bottom. We're gonna layer it with some garlic and some onion. And we're gonna put in some citrus, some oranges and some lime. And I'm just gonna put these in big chunks also, because we just want it in there for flavor. When we fry the carnitas a little bit later, we'll use another onion and some peppers to go along with. Let's put these in. Whole thing. 2 reasons. We're going to use this for flavoring, but the citrus is also going to tenderize the meat a little bit. Won't be gamey, won't be tough. And just a really good. And then let's get our garlic in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off tip. You can use a water bottle for this, a stainless steel water bottle. You can use just about anything for this. So we got about 6 or 7 cloves in there. All right. So we're going to take the top here, and we're going to just like rattle it. What do we got? Peeled cloves. There we go. Just like magic. Okay, we're just gonna give these a quick smash. So you just flat edge of the knife. After you cut it or smash it like this, it's nice to let it sit and let all the components in the garlic kind of come up, and you'll get more benefit out of it. We're gonna add just a little bit of vegetable broth to the top of this, so we've got a little bit of moisture in here. Set it and forget it. Today we're gonna make some mango salsa to go with our Goose Carnitas. So first we're gonna put in some black beans, 3 mangoes, got a sweet onion, and I've got some bell pepper. Got a Baja corn that's got a little bit of pepper and green chili in here. And then I'm gonna use some canned mild green chilies. Mix up a little bit. Okay, and in here I've got a little bit of Italian seasoning. I've got some garlic, fresh ground black pepper, just a little drizzle of olive oil, and then I'm going to use just a little bit of apple cider vinegar. A couple drops of lime oil, a little bit of salt, and a little bit of citrus will brighten your taste buds. They complement each other and makes the rest of the flavors really stand out. Now we're going to add our cilantro. We're just going to kind of rough chop this. Now there's two schools. There's the cilantro lovers and there's the cilantro haters. Sometimes they'll say it tastes soapy. It really does taste soapy to some people. So that's probably why they don't like it. So let's get this all mixed up. And then we'll let this set while our carnitas are cooking. Isn't that gorgeous? We're gonna grate some cheese. I've got some jalapeno pepper jack cheese. Put it in the freezer and make it a little bit harder, and then it'll grate really easy. I'm gonna take a little bit of sweet bell pepper. Gonna do some fresh onion. We'll get some nice thin little slices here. Goose has been cooking for a couple of hours now. We put this on a couple hours ago. So I'm gonna take it out, I'm gonna cut it up, then just kind of give it a little rough chop here. Fry this up nice and crispy. I'm gonna take a little bit of our broth and our seasoning, and then we'll add liquid a couple of times in there so that the goose will get really, really nice and crispy. All that beautiful orange juice and garlic and onions. This has had a little bit of time to meld the flavors together. Okay, so we're gonna get ready to plate it. What I like to do is I like to take and put this on just on top just to warm it up a little bit. Now you could do this in a corn tortilla. We're gonna use some flour tortillas today. A little bit of our carnitas in here. A little bit of our cheese. Goose carnitas. A little bit of pepper for some color. And then let's add our fresh black bean mango salsa. Here we go.
Well, that's it for this week. Be sure to check out 906outdoors.com, where you'll find the 906 Fishing Report, TV6 weather, shopping, and more. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next week, right here on Upper Michigan's very own Discovering.